time for What's Burnin', presented by Bill Lacasse and SRG Financial Advisors.
Welcome to another What's Burnin', and you know what? Something special about this What's Burnin'. What's that?
This is our final edition of What's Burnin' on this set. No more, of course, What's Burnin' presented by SRG Financial Advisors, home of the mile marker formula.
And Ozark Barge and Dock Services. They've been around for 35 years building the best docks at the Lake of the Ozarks.
And the exclusive veterinary of Lake TV. Our veterinary, they're all over, and they've got a great furry friends today for you. Couldn't forget the folks at American Elm Market. Look at how great they did providing the set with all the great Christmas decorations. And then, of course, we said it's the last What's Burnin'. So on the other side, we're going to tell you what's coming next.
While the financial services industry for years has focused on products, pricing, and performance, or things we refer to at SRG as the how, our focus for our clients has always been around their why. And without fail, over all these years, those whys have centered around family, occupation, and recreation. Think legacy issues, retirement, or achieving a work-optional lifestyle, and checking off those important things on that recreational bucket list. Our foundational approach remains a focus on the things that matter most to our clients and the things that together we can control. And where those two things overlap, that's where we live and work every day. That's SRG Financial and the mile marker formula.
Want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock now celebrating 35 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 35 years.
All right, back on What's Burnin' right here on Lake TV. I got my good buddy Keith Lucas from Ballparks National, Lake of the Ozarks. And Keith, I'll tell you what, you guys have been all over the headlines the last week, but really the last couple of years. And so we're excited to have you on to talk to us about Ballparks National. And so before we get into the new news, a lot of people probably already seen, let's talk about how Ballparks National has done since you guys really broke ground.
It's been pretty amazing, to think about. Most of the people here would have to go farther away to play, and travel ball is a big thing where you see less and less of the leagues and more people joining those competitive teams, and they're going playing all over the country. And that we brought that here. It's been a great success, and what better place to do it than the Lake of the Ozarks? When you've got a big thing in the industry as destination tournaments, and you see the Ripkins that are in Myrtle Beach and things like that, to bring it to the Lake of the Ozarks. People already want to come here, so why not? The catchphrase of play where you want to vacation where you want to play, that it rings true.
It's not as much of a catchphrase, it is reality. I mean, it's perfect. So I want to talk about a lot of people early on in the process. I know it was a long process. You guys were so tedious. You guys had so much perseverance, but that may not have seen big picture and seen the benefit. Now at this stage, I imagine they're starting to come around and seeing how good this is for our community.
And what's funny is Jeff Vernetti, the GM and the ownership, part of the ownership group, he still brings up those screenshots that he has where this guy said this about it's never going to happen, So I mean, you think about it, I've been part of the project since the beginning because I knew Jeff from college, so I've been following it, and then he hired me on an MSW on to do website and social media, and then I ended up joining the team. So I mean, I've been from the very beginning where I saw all the is it ever going to happen? This is never going to happen. Blah blah blah. Who are these guys? All that stuff, and to see it come. Now people are, calling us to say, hey, I want to be a sponsor. You know? I mean, literally, we've had some companies call us to say, we see baseball and softball players in our place all the time. How can we get even more involved? There's people whose, franchises that were low in the franchise, list of different locations that are moved way up, and it's
that's awesome.
It's
The machine is really what it can be looked at, and when you talk about what it's there for, is for the kids and for tournaments. Talk about last year as far as how many different tournaments, how many different kids and teams, how many different states traveled to the lake.
Sure.
Can you share that info?
We do baseball and softball, but we also do slow pitch softball too. So there's a lot of different options in the teams. But our season is basically from St. Patty's Day to Halloween. We take August off because there's not much going on. Kids teams are kind of rebuilding and things like that. But,
and school starts and stuff. So
that's kind of the end of the season is kind of the end of July, where teams start rebuilding and changing. So
right.
But we're going every weekend from St. Patty's Day to Halloween, and it's 40 teams a weekend that's there, and you think about that number, there's at least 12 kids on that team, and they're bringing their parents, they're bringing their siblings, coaches, grandparents,
aunts, uncles.
It's great, and we do charge for parking, but we don't charge a gate fee. Where most places you have to pay each individual that comes in. So in that, you do see more of the whole family coming to watch, especially locally. You see a lot of support for the local.
Can I ask, is that common with this type of facility or like a ballpark like this where you don't charge for gate fee?
No, common is they charge for gate fee.
Okay, I thought you guys kind of were different in that regard.
Most tournaments are done by tournament organizers who rent out the fields. We're kind of different in the fact that we own the fields.
That's awesome.
So a lot of them, that's the way they make their money. They pay for the park or whatever they're renting is by charging a gate fee. When you walk in, you got to pay $5 or whatever it would be. Example, we did Kansas City where the coaches got in free, Anna got in free, my daughter, but my wife and son both had to pay to get in.
Right.
So we do get some, I got to pay for parking, but it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
But
And so I want to ask too, is up to this point in time, I know that Bob Ramsey and Jeff Renetti, the two owners that a lot of you guys know, where they thought this would be. But as a whole, are you guys where you thought you would be, or have you exceeded those expectations?
We're a lot further ahead. The original plan was, once we started with the idea that we were going to have 5, originally they planned to have bigger 8, all of them. Originally, when they started with 5, they expected us to phase 2 would be in the 5th year, whereas now we're starting the 3rd year and we're already into phase 2.
That's crazy.
Adding the bigger fields.
And so I guess that's the news that you got today. That's why we wanted to bring you on. And we saw the headline is, hey, you guys are expanding. So without further ado, tell us about the exciting news.
Well, like I said before, we do baseball, but to this point, we can only do baseball to 12 and under with a metal bat. We did 13 and under with a wooden bat. So basically, the high school, middle school age, we were missing those people because of the fact that their season's a little shorter. So whenever the budget was initially, 5 fields made more sense being smaller because softball season's real big, and then youth baseball, you can capitalize on that. So the bigger fields, the issue in that though is a lot of those club organizations that are really big, say the Rawlings Tigers and those type of organizations, they want to go and bring all of their ages. So we were missing that older group that would also bring their middle group, would also bring their younger group. Now this will give us the opportunity to say, hey, club from Omaha, bring the whole group.
This is going to be game changing for you guys.
It is. And then also, they got really innovated. Bob and Jeff got really innovated on the design of it, where you actually the layout, a typical diamond shape, it's going to pop out where they're going to be able to fit a full football field and a full soccer field onto 2 of the fields.
And I believe we have a couple of those renderings that you guys provided for Lake Expo, so you guys can see that. So I guess that would lead me to believe that there's going to be additional sports coming.
There will be. We want to offer soccer and football opportunities, in our off season. We're still going to be baseball and softball primarily, but we want to be able to do more in the basically have no off season.
And so when does the project begin, or is it already beginning?
Project's already beginning. The excavating people are there doing, staking ground and all that. The groundwork, a lot of it was done whenever the first phase was done. A lot of the infrastructure, or whatever you want to call it, whatever's under the ground.
I'm not. I couldn't tell.
So, if you look at the aerial view, you can kind of see where the dirt was already set up. So a lot of that work's already done, and right now they're in the process of who's doing what's the
anticipated date of completion?
The construction companies say we could be done in 4 months, but also it could be a terrible winter.
You just never know.
The thing that slowed down the project, the last hurdle, whenever we did the 5 fields, it was super rainy. So it was like soupy. You couldn't bring any heavy equipment in.
I remember one of the original ribbon cuttings where it was so muddy, and that was early on, but it does not stop you guys from getting to this point. And as you continue to add, I wanted to ask you, because sometimes for us, we feel like, well, how can we help them? And so I know people are sitting out there. What are your guys' needs on behalf of your Lake of the Ozarks community? You need staff, you need sponsors, do you need employees?
We do have a team of 70 employees, seasonal, a lot of high school age, people that work in our concession stand, work our grounds. The school districts have been really good about putting out information on our opportunities. We're always kind of hiring, so to speak, but we'll be ramping it up soon and having events for hiring. The way that you can really help a lake person is to tell people outside of the area, hey, that your aunt's son plays on a team, and get them to come to the lake. They already know the lake's awesome. Right. Now they can bring that whole group to the lake and.
That's awesome. Well,
play.
Keep doing what you guys are doing. Thanks for coming on and sharing some updates. We look forward to continuing.
I got one more thing though, I got to talk to you about.
I'm excited that you can bring this up.
I don't know if the right word is like libel or slander, but I feel like you really did me a wrong about a month or so ago. You did a nice thing and a wonderful program where you said that I was the hero, COMC's hometown hero. But also in that program, you said that I was born and raised a Cubs fan.
And that's Jeff.
And well, Jeff's not here right now, so I would like my apology as a diehard Cardinal fan. You not only wronged me, you wronged my parents.
That's true.
So, that's a terrible thing to say. This is one of
my biggest professional mistakes in my life. So I'm going to do a quick version of my apology, and then I'm going to go right to work on an ample apology at a later time. But there's no doubt, not a Cub fan, never has been, never will be. And I got one thing I want to pick. You guys had those short fences when we did that home run derby, which therefore I didn't feel comfortable really swinging because I didn't want to embarrass you and KB and Jeff. And so now that we've got the real boy fences, I think it's time for me to come back out there and do another home run derby so I can show you.
Are you normally right-handed or left-handed? Because I think you were hitting from the wrong side of it.
Yeah, I'm normally right-handed. Don't look at the video, but we're going to say I batted left-handed that day. My pitcher wasn't any good, I'll say that.
Sure.
All right, well, hey, man, I appreciate it. Keith, keep up the great work. And I will look forward to this summer. We'll get out and be having some fun together. And before we go, check them out on Facebook, online, and make sure you guys get ready for the best summer yet out at Ballparks National. Appreciate your time, man.
Thanks,
we'll be back on What's Burnin' right after this as DJ Kyle goes out to the Chop House and the Gin Joint. Looking forward to that.
While the financial services industry for years has focused on products, pricing, and performance, or things we refer to at SRG as the how, our focus for our clients has always been around their why. And without fail, over all these years, those whys have centered around family, occupation, and recreation. Think legacy issues, retirement, or achieving a work-optional lifestyle, and checking off those important things on that recreational bucket list. Our foundational approach remains a focus on the things that matter most to our clients and the things that together we can control. And where those two things overlap, that's where we live and work every day. That's SRG Financial and the mile marker formula.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family, and at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offer routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. Our veterinary, with 6 convenient locations, the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
Hey, welcome back to What's Burning. I'm DJ Kyle, and today, well, I'm on vacation now, but I wanted to give you guys a little something before I left, so we came to do this recording. We are right now standing inside Jones Chop House with my good friend Jill. Jill, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Well, good.
I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming on here.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this place. So, Jones Chop House, we're located on Highway KK in Osage Beach. And the inside of this building is just spectacular.
It's absolutely amazing.
Tell us some of the history about what we're seeing here.
I love this building so much. It has so much nostalgia to it. So we have lots of little areas that you could come and dine in. So we have private little areas. One of them is called the Nautical Room. And then we have another one that is the Vineyard Room. And then we have lots of other little nooks and crannies. We have a library that holds about 12 to 14 people, so you can have a quaint little dinner in there. It's really awesome. And then we have several other little private dining areas, and then just the building is absolutely amazing. The woodwork was all hand done. It comes from a lot of local places around the area. The floor is probably one of my absolute favorites. I just love the old wood plank, and it actually was the Tanterra's roller skating rink years and years ago.
And
So
you can see different places on the
you
floor where
can
there's
you
kind of
can
like
see
some
the roller
stripes or
like the
whatever.
roller skating rings in it, and so it's really amazing. Yes, this building just has so much history behind it, and there are lots of other little hidden gems throughout the building. For little diamonds that are stuck in the like the bar has a diamond stuck in it. There's little rocks, different little gems that are hidden around. There are coins, there are bullet casings. So there's just lots of thoughts and details that were put into the building.
It really is like you step back in time, like you're in a speakeasy, like you're in the 30s or the late 20s or something. This is just beautiful, from the chandelier, all the woodwork. Now let's talk about your hours. When can people come in here and actually see this firsthand?
All right, so we are open Tuesday through Saturday 5 p.m. in the restaurant and 4 p.m. down in the gin joint. So you can come down in the gin joint and have a drink and a cocktail before dinner down there. That starts at 4 p.m. and then dinner up here 5 to around 8 or 9 p.m. depending on what the weekend.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Jill, thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to talk with Mike about some of the food that we have here at Jones Chop House and the Jones Gin Joint. So much great stuff going on right here on Highway KK, so make sure you come in and check that out.
Yes, please do.
All right, well, now we're here with Michael Jones, and we're in a little bit of a different room, if you will, I guess a different building. We started with the Jones Chop House. Now we're in the Jones Gin Joint. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, my pleasure.
Well, now, why don't you tell us a little bit about how did you get to where you are now? This is your now third successful restaurant so far. I can't wait to see what else is going to happen. I mean, the sky's the limit for you. So tell us a little bit how you got to where you are now.
So originally, we opened Jones Outpost out there and everything. Was in business out there for 4 years. Opportunity come available for this place here and everything, and it was a long, hard decision stuff. And me and the crew, we all talked about it and everything, and we decided to, jump in and see how it went. So
that's fantastic. And so this is the gin joint side of the Jones Chop House, and this is where Thursday nights we do trivia. So you get to come on out and do trivia with DJ Kyle on Thursday nights. We do that at 6:30, and always have a fun time. The place is buzzing with excitement, and you have just an amazing staff here. Not only that, like you have a staff that just smiles and takes care of people and just has a fun time doing it, but you have some amazing food. Every time that I'm here, I just hear people just going, this was the best burger that I've ever had, or this was the best whatever I ever had. So where did your love of food come from?
I started at a young age cooking in a restaurant in Osage Beach here. I was like 11 years old, got my first job, and I just fell in love with the kitchen. And I've always loved food. I've always loved to eat and everything. Growing up on a farm, and my parents always gardened. All my local family around, aunts and uncles, everything, and grandparents. They were always just it was always fresh food, and they always just cooked big meals and such, So I just have always enjoyed good food and stuff and everything, So
that's cool.
Just know what tastes good,
and you definitely know what tastes good, and you put out what tastes great, because everything I've had here, I had the pork belly just recently, and I have to say, do yourself a favor, come to Jones Chop House. If you do nothing else, come get that pork belly. You're not going to be sorry. But then while you're here, you're probably going to want one of everything on the menu, so that's pretty much how that goes. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your menu? What can people expect to see on the menu?
We have we're kind of like we call ourselves a chop house there. For our steaks and chops, everything there. But we still have a good variety too. We're in the Ozarks here. So we have everything from steak, seafood. It's actually we still have comfort food too. Chicken fried steaks, one of our big sellers there. On Tuesdays we do our fried chicken there. So it depends. You can come in. It's good for the whole family. You can if you want to come in one night and spend $50 on a steak, or come in one night and just spend 15, 20 bucks, whatever there, you can still do that, there. So just, we have that variety there, so yeah.
We do trivia on Thursday nights, but that's not it. There's so much other stuff you guys have. You have live entertainment going on several nights a week.
Several nights, yeah. We try to do live entertainment several nights a week. Something we just started recently was our Sunday jam session.
Nice.
So every Sunday from I think it's like 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. open jam. So if you're a musician, bring your instrument. If you want to sing, whatever there, So it's a great time there. So we're trying to, like I said, get it built up to where it's, there's something to do almost every night down here. So
absolutely, I love it, and just such a great place to just come in and check out, look around, and see all the cool things. So you can get your gift cards here. So if you need some gift cards for your friends and family, to hand those out. But come on out, Jones Chop House, Jones Gin Joint. Anytime you come out, it's always going to be a fantastic time and some great food. Again, located on Highway KK. How would you tell people to get here?
Our address is 1493 KK. We're basically right below the Tan water towers where we are there, stuff and everything. If you see the water tower, we're just pulling there, so you'll find us there. So
absolutely. Well, thanks again for hanging out.
Thank you.
And back to more What's Burnin'.
While the financial services industry for years has focused on products, pricing, and performance, or things we refer to at SRG as the how, our focus for our clients has always been around their why. And without fail, over all these years, those whys have centered around family, occupation, and recreation. Think legacy issues, retirement, or achieving a work optional lifestyle, and checking off those important things on that recreational bucket list. Our foundational approach remains a focus on the things that matter most to our clients and the things that together we can control. And where those two things overlap, that's where we live and work every day. That's SRG Financial and the mile marker formula.
Want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock now celebrating 35 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 35 years.
Back here on What's Burnin', presented by SRG Financial Advisors, home of the mile marker formula. And Uncle Chris, time for a little local headlines. But we got a lot of local headlines.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking. And some of these are really kind of shocking to me anyway, maybe not to you. But like this first one, the murder conspiracy case against that Leanne Bowman lady, the real estate agent, dropped, gone. It just goes away just like that, man. That was kind of shocking. The case was scheduled for pre-trial on Wednesday, January 4th. According to the Missouri CaseNet, it has been dismissed, not there anymore. And she said she thanks Camden County for recognizing that she never intended any actual harm and that she's going to be a good mom and all that stuff. But remember how big that story was?
National.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
One of the largest stories to ever come out of the Lake of the Ozarks. And it's sad because that is a headline that would go viral nationally. And I think it was kind of taken out of context. We're not exactly sure what happens here. But I am sure of this, that people are capable of change. And I felt for Leanne Bowman when this came out, not that she wasn't in the wrong, but none of us know what took place and transpired to lead to this. And you certainly would think that entrapment could play a role in this getting dismissed. Otherwise, if they had a clear-cut case, they would prosecute.
You would sure think so, yeah. So obviously the case was not strong or something behind the scenes because it just went away.
And the heartbreaking thing is here, for a human individual who's a mom, how do you now, and her focus should be, and I pray and hope that it is, on restoring that relationship with your daughters, and at the age they're at, they caught wind of all this, they caught grief for this, they were made fun of for this, I can only imagine. And so I just hope that they can restore that and that they can have their mom in their life and that she can be a productive role model and leader, because ultimately, that's all that matters is the kids are here.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And part of her statement kind of addressed that a little bit. She said her daughters are the most important people in her life. She's sad for this and her other mistakes as a mother. The impact on them cannot be counted. And she says that she cannot thank her ex-mother-in-law enough for continuing to be a rock in their lives. So hopefully those bridges are being mended and, and all that stuff. So.
That's big right there. I didn't even catch that. But to add, I cannot thank my ex-mother-in-law enough. That is the one that she supposedly had hired the hit on. And so when you say people can change and, reconciliation can be had, I hope that's the case here. And I know I am really happy for the individual, Leanne Bauman, because she gets a second chance, and now I just pray and hope that she takes advantage of that and is certainly a changed woman. But entrapment would certainly make you think was involved at some point in time. Otherwise, she's certainly not getting out after taking a hit out and hiring somebody to murder somebody.
I mean, either entrapment or it was just a weak case or whatever the case might be, but it's gone now.
And maybe it's just the empath in me, but I kind of felt for her from the start. I said, what led somebody to the point where they didn't like somebody in their family and there was that much anger and spite, and it's like there must have been some serious destruction that none of us know about, not to justify, but I kind of saw this outcome as a possibility from the get-go, and the case is released, and I'm sure that a lot of people have a lot to say about that, and we'll see a lot of opinions and a lot of takes. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy for Leanne Bauman, and I'll continue to pray for her and especially for those two babies.
Absolutely.
All right, so we talked about it on Cup of Coffee, and we've had some follow-up stories, but we're happy to announce it looks like Lake Ozark has officially hired their new police chief.
Yeah, that didn't take long, right? I mean, the last one, great guy, just retired a couple of weeks ago, and now ceremony, the installment of Mr. Jeffrey Christensen as police chief will take place, City Hall, 8:30 in the morning this week, I think.
And actually, I believe that it's set for January 5th, which was Wednesday, I believe, or maybe Thursday. But yeah, 8:30, they're going to officially name him. But he's the former police chief of Lynn Creek, and so familiar with the area. And so pretty cool. The city of Lake Ozark, Chris, we've talked about it. The city really on an upward trajectory, continuing, and we wanted to mention that. But we also talked about in Cup of Coffee this week that the deadline for filing for the races in Lake Ozark had came and gone. And believe it or not, former Mayor Johnny Francescos, who was mayor for 12 years before being beat by Jerry Morawski in 16, ran again in 21 against Morawski and Mayor Newberry. He's thrown his name in the cap, and he is hoping to become mayor, be voted once again as mayor.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that turns out. I mean, he was mayor for 12 years, so he's well known. You just wonder, are you well known for good or well known for not so good?
Well, all I'm going to say is this. After everything that came out about former Mayor Jerry Morawski, I mean, it was vast, too. A lot of headlines, a lot of audio recordings. And we knew that write-in candidate Dennis Newberry, who was ultimately elected and received over 50% of the vote. So if you're wondering where the other 50% was split, 23% went to Morawski and only 21% went to Johnny Francescos. So if you get less of the vote than the guy that's all over the headlines, and especially considering, I think the most important thing is the health and current state of Lake Ozark, as good as it's been in the last 20 years, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So we'll see what the voters have to say about that. All right, so other local headlines. Chris, did you see that the state of Missouri has officially raised minimum wage?
Yeah, I saw that. So a lot of new laws take effect January 1st. You know, the new year turns over. So Missouri's minimum wage increases to $12 an hour. Most private businesses in the state will have to pay that new hourly rate. Apparently, it does not apply to public employers, which, you know, that always seemed to be a double standard to me. You know, the government can make new laws and then keep themselves from having to live up to those laws. That just doesn't seem to be right. But anyway,
United States government. For
yeah,
you,
I mean, that is government. That's not right.
That is not right indeed. Another one of the new laws, Senate Bill 3, reduces the state income tax from 5.3 to 4.9. And although just 0.4%, that really adds up over the course of a year.
Yeah, you usually don't see taxes coming down. So that's really cool that in the state of Missouri, the state income tax does go down a little bit. So hopefully that'll mean a little extra money for some folks, because with gas prices and inflation, people are going to need a little extra money.
You noticed too how quickly gas prices spiked back up. I was all excited. $2.59, I had seen it off of 44 between here and Springfield, and had to stop to get gas. And now it's back up to like $3 almost everywhere.
I think everybody knows it kind of came down for those elections. The midterm elections probably headed back up now.
And only about 90% of America predicted that was going to happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Governor Parsons, the governor of Missouri, who's the leader of a lot of these new state laws, or the one at least has to sign off, he granted 21 pardons and approved 2 communications in December. It says since then, he's granted a total of 434 pardons, approved 20 commutations.
Commutations,
yeah. What's the
they like when they commute a sentence. I think it's like, I'm not quite sure what commuting a sentence means, but it's kind of like letting them off, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and denied or closed more than 1,800 applications. So I think it was worth noting, you see the 443 pardons, you're like, man, is he just pardoning everybody? Well, he closed more than 1,800. So literally, it was about a 36th or 3% of the pardons that had been petitioned for.
It says Governor Parsons inherited nearly 3,700 pending clemency applications. So he's weeding through those and doing that. Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's interesting.
And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I saw on Citizens for a Better Camden County, courtesy of Aaron Salzman, local, that Governor Parson Wednesday morning was at the Camdenton subway.
Yeah.
You see the picture there with Aaron and Governor Parson? I'll tell you, I didn't know this, but apparently our governor likes to eat fresh.
Yeah, hey, who wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
He likes to come to the lake, is what he likes to do, absolutely.
Smart. Okay, so another cool story. You saw, if you watched a Cup of Coffee or watching it this week, there was that deer rescued from the ice, which I loved. But a new story. Firefighters save Osage Beach woman from a smoke-filled apartment.
This is interesting, too, because the woman was probably saved from dying. Firefighters dispatched to the summit of the Osage Apartments the day after Christmas, I think, and the smoke alarm was going off, but they couldn't get in, so the firefighters break down the door. They get in there, they find this lady passed out on the couch with heavy smoke, and so they take her out, they save her life apparently. Source of the smoke, a small cooking fire that had been left unattended.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good work for firefighters in Osage Beach. I'm sure their names will be released, but talk about hometown hero worthy.
Yeah, there you go.
Those guys right there. So one other thing, as we move on to local stories, this Saturday is 2023 Eagle Days with Ameren, Missouri. And if you stay tuned, you can see this year's promo. I'll tell you the details, time, locations.
Could you do an eagle impression?
Cool!
See, there you go.
You did it yesterday in coffee. It wasn't. You sounded like a.
Mine wasn't very good. That's a turkey, you know.
This guy is goofy. So listen, we'll take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, setting some goals, and some tips you can make it a little easier this year as you look ahead to setting those resolutions. That when we return to What's Burnin' right here on Lake TV.
Ameren, Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks Eagle Days is back for one day, Saturday, January 7th. Live bird shows will take place at Osage National Golf Resort and Encore Lakeside Grill. Viewing sites are at Bagnell Dam River Access and Wilmore Lodge. Don't miss this free event. Visit lakeoftheozarkseagledays.com or call 573-964-1008 for details. Eagle Days is sponsored in part by Adair's Wildlife Removal Service, Burgers Marine, Central Bank of Lake of the Ozarks, Hayes Construction, and Missouri Master Naturalists Lake of the Ozarks Chapter.
While the financial services industry for years has focused on products, pricing, and performance, or things we refer to at SRG as the how, our focus for our clients has always been around their why. And without fail, over all these years, those whys have centered around family, occupation, and recreation. Think legacy issues, retirement, or achieving a work-optional lifestyle. and checking off those important things on that recreational bucket list. Our foundational approach remains a focus on the things that matter most to our clients and the things that together we can control. And where those two things overlap, that's where we live and work every day. That's SRG Financial and the mile marker formula.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offer routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. Our veterinary, with 6 convenient locations, the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
There's a new radio station at the lake, a radio station that's geared towards the community, a radio station where you can have a hand in what we do. Welcome to Key Radio, a community-based radio station that invites you to be a part of the solution. We encourage you to become a content creator. That's right, you provide the content. Listen in at 89.3 or online at keyradio.live. To find out more about becoming a content creator, call 573-280-0532.
And back on What's Burning right here on Lake TV. Chris, the new year is here. And you notice a lot of people around us are setting those New Year's resolutions.
Of course.
Gyms are fuller than they have been this week.
It's a good thing we're in such great shape. We don't have to make any resolutions.
Hey, typically you could make those jokes, but listen, I've been taking it a little serious the last couple months.
Yeah, you've been losing some weight.
Well,
you're looking good.
Uncle Chris, you could just cut it out already. But I thought about it a little differently this year because I already had gotten into the habit the last 3 or 4 years of just unhealthy living. You know, I was drinking a lot, I was eating whatever I want, fast food, eating late, you know, a lot of fried foods. And I was like, man, if I really want to get serious this new year, to wait until January 1st and then add in Thanksgiving. What do we do on Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Yeah.
And you and I are probably the worst. You know,
you did good this year, though.
For the first time ever, because I decided going in, but you and I are real similar. Like, we love to eat. And around the holidays, there's always baked goods. There's kind of some comfort in snacking and watching our sports and our holiday movies. And we both love that. So I said this year, I want to be mindful during Thanksgiving and Christmas because those are the hardest times to be good. Instead, it kind of go slow and soft and kind of set a tone. So when January 1st hits, I don't get bombarded with, oh man, I put on an extra 10 pounds. I feel like crap. You know, it's going to take a month to get all that holiday stuff out of your system if you are working out. So I said, let's pre-curse the new year. And yeah, so starting January 1, we're going to start doing 2 weekly weight workouts, 50 minutes, and we're going to continue our daily regimen. And so I thought, hey, it's overwhelming to think about it. So we have found a top 10 tips from Gaiam online to help keep your New Year's resolutions, Chris. And so start us off with the first couple.
Okay, the number one thing that they give us is to be realistic, right? And I think that's genius. I really do, because if you give yourself, you know, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, and then the first 2 weeks you don't lose anything, all of a sudden you're giving up. You know, you say, hey, screw that. So the being realistic thing is important.
Yeah, setting that goal of saying, hey, Will could go in and say, hey, I'm going to be able to bench press 300 and I want a six-pack. Not happening. I'm not built like that. It's just not happening. So set realistic goals. Maybe I'm going to add a glass of water every morning to my routine, and I'm going to try to get 10 minutes of cardio in. That is realistic and trackable.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2 is to plan ahead. Yeah. And this is pretty important too, man. If you don't plan ahead and like get all the chips and the candy and the crap out of the house, all of a sudden, you know, it's hard not to eat that stuff because it's sitting there on the counter, right?
Not just that. When they say plan ahead, also, you know, my vitamin regimen is like 19 different bottles. And so if I wait and I end up waking up 10 minutes later, that's going to get scrapped. So every Sunday, I set aside 7 days worth of Ziplocs and I put all of my daily vitamin regimen. So that way, when your unexpected curveball hits, a sick kid, a trip to the airport, it's easier to stay on track, and it's not obtainable if you don't plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a huge one. Number 3 is outline your plan. And I think this is important whenever you're setting goals. People tell you, you know, the experts tell you, write it down. Write down your goals. This is the same kind of a thing. You know, you're outlining your plan. You're kind of making it a reality. Right. You're bringing it to be.
Right. And when it says outline your plan, I always like to say obtainable and trackable. And so don't just say, I'm going to start working out. be realistic in mind. So for Will, it's I know how busy I am. And I know that if I'm gonna start working out, I have to schedule it and plan it. And so I know I can only give an hour 2 times a week. And so it has to be late Wednesday and it has to be early Saturday, so I'm getting the rest, but it's planned. And I know I'm only gonna be in there 50 minutes hitting it hard, an hour of my time dedicated with getting there and driving home. It's planned ahead.
Right.
It's outlined.
Yep.
And that way I know I'll make the time for it. It's gonna happen.
Next on the list is make pros and cons. Make a list of the pros and the cons. I mean, as you're fighting through this battle 2 or 3 months down the road, go back and look at that pros and cons list. You knew it was going to be hard.
100%.
You knew you were going to run into this problem, but then look over at the pros and it's worth it.
And a couple other things you can do, 5, is to talk about it like this. Talk with your significant other, your good friend, and support each other through it, because you want to hold each other accountable, encourage each other, and it helps if you're not on that journey alone. And the next thing, number 6, is reward yourself.
Yeah.
Like, celebrate those small victories. It's like, hey, I want to lose 100 pounds, but start small. I want to lose 3 pounds. Celebrate that. I want to lose 8 pounds. Another milestone. Celebrate that. Reward yourself. Maybe it's once a week you're going to have a cheat meal, or you're going to have a piece of cake on Sunday night. Reward yourself. Don't try to be so perfect that you burn out and then you go off the deep end, because I've done that so many times.
Sure.
You try to be so strict. It's really, really tough. A couple other things, Chris. Number 7 is track your progress.
Yep.
We talked about that in one of the earlier steps. It's so much better. If you're trying to lose 100 pounds, that is going to be overwhelming if you look at that 100. But if you track 3 pounds, 7 pounds.
Yeah.
Look, I started with 10 push-ups. Now I can do 20 push-ups. Tracking those things helps you see the progress and keeps you motivated.
Yeah, that's the key, is the motivation, I think. For me, whenever I've been doing that, staying on it, you go get on the scale, you see you lost another pound, that just fires you up to lose more,
100%. Another thing, step 8, or tip number 8, is don't beat yourself up. I know for me, if I'm in a groove and really hitting it hard, and I might have a bad day where I was not feeling good, I had a soda, I didn't take my vitamins, I didn't do my push-ups, that mentally might defeat me for a week.
Sure.
And so don't beat yourself up. Let bygones be bygones. As soon as that day is come and gone, be like, look, it's behind me. Now it's time to undo it. Onward and upward, and make sure you stick to it.
Yeah. Got to stick to it, even after the bad day. Even after the day you get on the scale, you've gained a pound or 2, stick to it. You can reverse that, come back down.
Like, ideally, with weight loss, you'd think it would look just like this. No, it's like the stock market. You might be down, but you're going to have some ups. Stick to it. And the most important thing, and the step 10, or the tip number 10, is to keep trying.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're going to have a bad week. You're going to see results you didn't like, but keep trying. And one thing you can do is keep people around you that are for your success, right?
Absolutely.
So this is just 10 tips that we found online and wanted to share with you. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, it's Furry Friends out at Ozarks Cat and Canine, presented by our veterinary.
While the financial services industry for years has focused on products, pricing, and performance, or things we refer to at SRG as the how, our focus for our clients has always been around their why. And without fail, over all these years, those whys have centered around family, occupation, and recreation. Think legacy issues, retirement, or achieving a work-optional lifestyle, and checking off those important things on that recreational bucket list. Our foundational approach remains a focus on the things that matter most to our clients and the things that together we can control. And where those two things overlap, that's where we live and work every day. That's SRG Financial and the Mile Marker Formula.
Want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock now celebrating 35 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 35 years.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offer routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. Our veterinary, with 6 convenient locations, the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it. Welcome to another Furry Friends presented by our veterinary. I'm Megan Albers here with Mary Meow Me Tilly with a very sweet, sleepy, cuddly, oh my goodness, he's super sweet. This is Zorro.
This is Zorro.
But tell us about him.
So Zorro got his name because he has a mustache.
Yes.
And of all the famous men with mustaches, it seemed to fit him the best. Yes, you're not going to show it off, are you? Oh. You're feisty boy.
He just wants to cuddle.
Zorro is getting close to about 6 months old. We have about another week or so to go before he hits that mark in our system. He was found as a stray in Camdenton, showed up in somebody's yard, and no owners showed up for him, so we got him fixed and vaccinated and vetted and all ready to go. He's microchipped and looking for a home, and he is so purring. He's laying here just purring in my ear. Yes, you're a cuddle bug, aren't you?
So cuddly. To be fair, he was napping when we got here, so.
I wasn't really sure because he just moved down here a couple weeks ago, and I haven't really had a whole lot of chance to spend time with him, so wasn't really sure what we were looking at today.
He seems super chill and just affectionate. Yeah. Maybe a good lap cat.
Little snuggle boy. You got me a snuggle boy for somebody curious? He's checking out the window.
Of course. Does he have any kind of special anything?
No restrictions on him. Nothing remarkable as far as his medical history or anything like that. Just a little stray who needed some help, needs a home.
Well, he seems great. He's just super sweet. Very cuddly. So we are into the new year officially, which means that you guys just finished your angel tree.
Right.
How did that go for you guys?
Went pretty well. We had the tree here at the shelter, and then we had the second tree over at Red's Barbecue. And got photos of all the stuff piled underneath it, and it wasn't even all of it because as the food came in, it was pretty much going straight out to the food barn because we have that need. But we had a good response and a lot of monetary donations, so everything definitely helps. But just because the holidays are over doesn't mean that our need is over.
Yeah.
You know, we have the animals here year round, and especially when spring comes around, we're going to be back heavy into kitten season again, and always got that need here. Yeah.
They were both distracted with how cute he is. He's just so sweet. Oh, goodness. So, as always, people can give a couple of different ways, right? If they want to donate food or just donate monetarily.
Right. So if you go on our website, ozarkscatandcanine.com, there's a whole page there that says ways to give. There's links to our Chewy wish list, our Amazon wish list. Chewy is mostly food and like toys and things like that. Our Amazon list has other things like cleaning supplies and stuff on there as well, things that we use around the shelter on a daily basis. There's also just a written out list of things that we use that we're always glad to have donated. So if somebody wants to stop at a store and pick some things up or order, you know, maybe you've got a Walmart gift card or something, you know, that you're wanting to use. And then they can either be dropped off here at the shelter or our shipping address is on there to be mailed. There's also a button on there and a button on our Facebook page for monetary donations, or checks can be sent in the mail. We've got a P.O. box. They can drop off cash or call it a card. We try to give them every way possible to be able to help out if they want to.
Of course.
And then going into the new year, maybe you had a New Year's resolution that you want to help out. Do something more for your community. We're always looking for volunteers, both here at the shelter and at the thrift store. Our thrift store has 2 paid employees, the manager and 1 part-timer. And other than that, it is completely volunteer operated.
Which is incredible because it's a decent sized thrift store.
Yes,
there's a lot of stuff in there.
we have a lot of dedicated people, especially in the cold months. We do have a lot of ladies that are on the older end of the spectrum that maybe they winter elsewhere or they can't get out when the weather's bad. Things like that. So. Better to have too many volunteers than not enough for certain.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they can find all that information on the website as well?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, there's pages on there about volunteering as well. If they're wanting to volunteer here at the shelter, we do have an application. Probably not going to turn anybody away, but we just want to find out a little more information about you, what kind of experience you have, what you're interested in doing.
Yeah.
And then they can submit that online or come in and fill one out in person, and then we'll schedule an orientation with them. As far as volunteering at the thrift store, they just need to go up there and talk to the manager, Penny.
Perfect. Sounds great. And of course, you can apply to adopt Zorro there at the website as well, or you can come on in and meet him and cuddle him. My goodness, who doesn't want to do that? Sheesh. All right, let's get this sweet boy adopted. I don't think it'll take long because he's just a cuddle bug.
Yep.
He's amazing.
Don't have too many that just lay here like this. Yeah,
that's true. Yep. All right, that does it for another Furry Friends brought to you by our veterinary.
While the financial services industry for years has focused on products, pricing, and performance, or things we refer to at SRG as the how, our focus for our clients has always been around their why. And without fail, over all these years, those whys have centered around family, occupation, and recreation. Think legacy issues, retirement, or achieving a work-optional lifestyle, and checking off those important things on that recreational bucket list. Our foundational approach remains a focus on the things that matter most to our clients and the things that together we can control. And where those 2 things overlap, that's where we live and work every day. That's SRG Financial and the Mile Marker Formula.
Well, there you go. The very last What's Burnin' on Lake TV coming up next week. Happy Hour with DJ Kyle.
Can't wait. Want to give a shout out to our friends at SRG Financial Advisors, Ozark Barge and Dock, our veterinary at American Elm Market for providing the set. Shout out to Keith Lucas for coming in today and sharing with us. Also want to mention, folks, get ready because this new show, new angle, new host, it's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of cool things you don't want to miss. And before we go, also wanted to mention, please continue to keep Damar Hamlin and the Buffalo Bills organization and everyone impacted by this tragedy in your thoughts and prayers.